I'm here with Peter Golding at Bonhams and Butterfields. We're getting ready for your auction. Now, this is actually in May out of New York, right?
Yes, that's right.
So this is
May
actually
14th.
May 14th?
Yes.
Now, should I like kneel at your feet or something, because you have quite a history of doing everything?
I get totally embarrassed.
Okay, in collection. Actually, I don't know if you know this, because you were honored by the Queen of England for your, okay, we're getting off on fashion already.
Okay.
For your fashion design?
Well, yes, I was invited there along with other designers from other walks of British design to basically, it was just in generally honouring British design, the contribution in the world and in all sorts of ways, architecture, fashion, and that kind of thing. So, yes.
So Peter, I understand you were very instrumental in denim, particular
Sure.
designer denim and stretch denim,
That's right, yes.
which is, of course, everyone's favorite. I don't know about
I know, well, in the early days it was quite fun. I did the first designer jeans, so I say anyway, in 1970 a company in England, Falmer, asked me to create some denim jeans for them, which I did, and it was Peter Golding for Falmer, and I had my name on it. So if you like, that's when the denim started, but in those days it wasn't even bleached denim. And then in 73, I think it was, we started bleaching the denim, and actually I sold quite a lot of my stuff through Britannia in the USA at the time. And then in 1978 I had a shop called Ace in the King's Road with all the Rolling Stones and Bianca Jaggers and all the famous rock and roll stars used to come through, and glamour girls and everything else. So then I created a stretch jean, which was basically for rock and roll and for celebrity, you know, like the women's form. It was really good, and it was very tight around the thighs, and yet had a lot of style to it, and that became a sort of rock and roll fit in the early 80s in America. I was selling at Fred Segal and Bloomingdale's.
So it originated because of the rock and roll clients then? The stretch denim?
Yes, I didn't serve them. This was the creation, and they were drawn to, they were drawn into this clientele. I mean, yes, the clientele in London, yes, but they were drawn to the fit. You know,
right.
They were the forerunners. Just like today, you have your celebrities to a certain extent. They endorse certain fashion designers. They get a certain following. So it was just a more natural event. Melrose Avenue. You know, there'd be various shops on Melrose or in New York, and obviously that was. So I was a bit of a rock and roll in those days.
Oh, yes.
You know, and I enjoyed the product. And I have been doing it for quite a few years, but I retired 2 or 3 years ago from the fashion world, kept my brand back, and in fact some people are interested in maybe doing something again.
Possibility?
When I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm ready.
So stay tuned. Go to your Wikipedia or your website?
Well, I'm on Wikipedia under Peter Golding Wikipedia, but that's just the story, and if we do it again, it'll be licensing some organisation that will be able to basically get involved with the heritage, because people today love heritage, so it's not so much the product as the story. If you take, you know, Burberry's is an old raincoat, but then they build a whole story into it. So, you know, we have the King's Road, we have rock and roll, we have the Ace with all my clientele, and, you know, the product was always very good and could fit all ages. I think it's important that denim isn't just related to, you know, a young segment. You get all these brands that are really dedicated to sort of, you know, teenage, and I think there's a whole middle market, you know, guys as well, who want to feel cool, look good, not just in big baggy pants, but still feel comfortable and feel, you know, that they're look and feel masculine. So
it goes with rock and roll.
It goes with rock and roll, and I'm having a rest right now.
I know.
Which also goes with rock and roll, and the band reforms.
Speaking about the band, I see you're wearing 2 guitars on your belt.
Yeah, that's because I don't play that well. I have to have 2.
Now, on guitars, I asked you about Gibson earlier.
Sure.
Which?
Well, one is a Gibson J200.
Uh-huh.
I know my Gibsons.
Ooh.
I've always played Gibson. Again, you know, I'm not a great guitarist, but I used to played the Paris streets in the early days, in the 60s, and I've always enjoyed playing guitar, more acoustic than electric. I've had my 335s, black dot neck which is quite important, although it wasn't originally black. So when I went to sell it, everybody complained that it had been sprayed, but I bought it when it was black, and dot neck means it was pre-59, so there's a lot of interest in that, and amplifiers. Amps, I prefer Fender. I have a few Gibson amps as well.
Yes.
GA90 with 6 speakers, because they're very good for harmonica playing.
Oh, that's right, because you play the harmonica
amps.
too.
Yeah, that's my favorite, or my best instrument.
So
Now
you
we
use
have
it.
stuff out on our space, I think. So.
Oh, you do?
MySpace, yeah.
So you use the same amp for the guitar and the
No,
harmonica?
no,
Okay.
no. Well, you can do. Certain amps, because they're vintage, give a certain vintage feel which work well for the harmonica. Now I just play through the PA system, so. But there's a whole world of harmonica playing, and microphones, and amplifiers, and whether you should use a Fender or a Gibson. But as we're talking about Gibson do make some excellent vintage amps, or did. But their guitar, their neck is just beautiful. I just like the way that the neck feels. I've got my favourite guitar actually is a Gibson Country and Western from the 60s. Funny enough, bought by the guy that, Tom Salter, I took it from him years ago. And I think the Grateful Dead have all played it because it was around his house, and he bought it new in the 60s, and now I have it. So the neck is just beautiful, and it has this sort of comfort zone that I find important.
Yeah,
I've had quite a few guitars through the years, Switchmasters and different semi-acoustics, arch tops.
Oh, you do play it. You do?
And I used to collect like this, but then rock and roll art took over a bit. But I've had quite a few through the years.
That's nice. Well, Peter, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for your time, and appreciate your interest, and I hope everything goes well. I wish everybody all the best.
Well, best of luck on the sale of your collection
Thank you very much.
and your future endeavors. Thank you, Peter.